Okay, welcome everyone to our webinar today. Today's topic, future-proofing your sales, how to close more deals faster in challenging times. And we're very excited about this topic. It's very timely. We have three great experts that are going to walk us through their insights. Let me check in with them briefly. First, we have the CEO of Nova CPQ Consulting. We have Frank Sohn. Hey, Frank.
Hey, everyone.
Thanks for joining. We also have the CEO and co-founder of Mobileforce, Jagadish Bandole. Jagadish.
Hello, everyone. Great to be here.
And we have the senior managing partner at Walpole Partnership, Ingmar Hermans. Hey, Ingmar.
Hello there. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Very excited to get started. And what we're going to do is first, this is designed to be an interactive discussion. So what does that mean? That means that if and when you have questions, you can simply put them in the Q&A section of the Zoom app, and we will try to get those later in the discussion. So thank you for joining us. My name is Philip Levinson, CMO of Mobileforce. Let's get started. So let's go over the agenda, and then I'll hand things over to Frank. Frank will be the moderator today. So when we do hand things over, Frank will be talking about why future-proofing sales is so important, especially today. Then we'll hand things over to Jagadish, who'll talk about optimizing your sales and your quote-to-closing processes. And then we'll hand things over to Ingmar, and he'll talk about the secrets of CPQ success. And finally, we'll have a Q&A discussion, and that's, again, your chance to add questions, and we will try to get to those. So we're excited about this. Let's jump right on in. And with that, let me formally hand you over to, he's not just the CEO of Nova CPQ, he's also the host of the very informative CPQ podcast. We're thrilled to have him as our moderator today. Frank, why don't you take it away?
Hey, yep. Yeah, thank you very much, Philip, for having me. So why future-proofing sales is so important. I mean, in addition to the standard benefits that you would expect from a CPQ, I think there are a couple more which are worth noting and thinking about it for a little moment, right? So I think one thing that's becoming very obvious when I talk to customers anyway, and I talk to tons of customers throughout the year, is they want to have answers very quickly, right? So, and answers to complex questions sometimes. So that always depends, obviously, on what your product is, what your offering is, how complex or easy it is. But you want to have your answer very quick. To me, when you think about this, it means a couple of things, right? It first means automation of task as process to speed it up, right? So you have to automate it. As long as you keep doing things in a manual way or parts of it in a manual way, this will be the process points where it may slow down. So you have to address this if you want to address customer needs, right? Then you have the typical, I would say, CPQ benefits that you've probably heard from 50 different vendors and analysts before. A CPQ can increase efficiency and accuracy. That's basically the point of automating your configuration rules instead of having these rules in an Excel spreadsheet or wherever you have them, and then find it together. Then things have changed and it turns out to be wrong. So this efficiency and accuracy is a key CPQ goal. It still remains one also when you want to have the answers a little bit faster, right? I think the third one has also been mentioned before in general benefits for CPQ, but it can help to reduce the time to close a deal. Just think about it. If I go ahead and I offer you a product in a manual fashion, then I need to look up certain things. I need to make sure whatever I'm looking up is most up to date. I need to be confident about this. I may need to get additional approvals because I cannot do all that. I'm not sure who's approving it. So that all takes time. In a small kind of business, that might still work, but as you grow, it doesn't, right? So, and a CPQ solution, when you have automated the deals, when you have automated the product configuration and pricing rules, that obviously helps you to reduce the time to close the deal because a lot of these things are automated. And hence they are faster and you're confident that they are true. So that's the first overarching benefit that I see if you want to future-proof, if you want to use that terminology, right, sales. Then one key reason, obviously, especially in these times where you have potentially financial or economic worries, is also you want to increase sales, you want to reduce costs, right? So increase sales. The system is there to help you with cross and upsell opportunities, automated cross and upsell opportunities, because in this case, I would expect that if you're anywhere where my current customers are, typically there is too much data there to do all of this manually. So that may have worked 10 years ago, where you have an Excel spreadsheet and you have a column A, and you have in column A you have a product, in column B you say what product is going with that product, right? So then lots of folks maintained that manually, so it seemed to work just fine when you looked at it, but in the background it was really a manual process. So I think CPQ can help there, especially as solutions get more advanced right now and you have more automated cross and upsell opportunities, intelligent cross and upsell opportunities. That really helps also to increase sales, which especially at this time I see is very important for customers, right? Also, to increase the visibility of the sales pipeline, people have to see what is actually happening in the system, right? So if you have, again, if you have smaller business and you still see you have 5 salespeople and you want to see their pipeline, that may work in a manual fashion, maybe not quite as fast and without any hiccups, but in general, it may work. As you grow bigger and you want to get an idea of what's in the pipeline, how likely is that, and so on, I think CPQ can also help by having this rounded picture where you get one view of the pipeline from everyone together. And the last one, and I think that's actually a super important one, is to increase the customer satisfaction, because customers in general, in my experience these days, want to investigate products ahead of time. So they want to do that themselves. Maybe not even to buy the product in the end, but you want to investigate it. You want to play around with it. You want to understand it a little bit better. Most people do that online. If they cannot do that, that impacts the customer satisfaction, right? So if somebody doesn't investigate your product online, they may not even end up with your product in the end at all. And you have different routes to market here. What you have to consider is not just the salespeople. So salespeople who have gone through internal training and may already know your product and your tools, for them it might be an annoyance when you show them all this information, right? Because they already know it. Other users who don't use your tools quite that often, like a channel sales partner, so a distributor or a reseller, and they only use your product, I have an idea, 3, 4, 5 times a week, right? So for them, it will help when they get additional support, right? So which makes it easier to deal with your tool. And then last but not least, everyone who's online, they want to find your product online, obviously. But when you find it, as the way how you present it is very important, right? So from what may have worked internally, where you have a drop down with 50 options and you have to scroll. If I do the same thing online on a phone, yeah, I'm probably leaving here after I've scrolled for 2 seconds, then I may jump to the next website, right? So the customer expectations are definitely different now. So you want to address that. And that means also not just showing the product, it also means showing the product and presenting the product in an easy to understandable way, where you provide answers faster without somebody really digging into this for 5 minutes to understand how it works. So I think these are all very important things to consider when you look at the CPQ solution. And from here, I think then I think that's from my point of view the important thing. So I hand off to Jagadish here.
Thank you, Frank. Let me switch over to my screen, you folks. So continuing from the points that Frank made, from a sales to from optimizing your sales perspective, one of the focus areas, at least this year, has been primarily in the quote to close, the bottom half of the funnel, right? That's an area where a lot of CROs and VPs of sales have been very focused, primarily because new logos have been very hard to come by. And also a lot of customers are mostly looking at expansion revenue from their installed base. So they want to optimize the opportunity to close part of the sales cycle, and they want to do it in a way that's efficient but also very fast, because opportunities are not easy to come by, and whatever you get, you want to make sure that you optimize that. So from the point of importance of speed, right, this is something that was eye-opening for us as well. Recent survey from McKinsey highlighted how important the code to proposal to closing speed is, right? If you look at B2B decision makers, their number one pain point from an end customer perspective is that their interactions with vendors had the speed of interactions they have with their vendors that they're investigating was a big factor in their decision making, and they typically chose people who moved fast, who were able to get proposals faster, who were able to collaborate with them, who were able to make the changes quickly, and then go through the contracting process quickly. That's generally been the theme in the last few years, but certainly it has become very important nowadays. In fact, speed was cited as a priority almost twice as often as the price, which was eye-opening piece for us. So all it means is as a company looking to address and capture both upsell, cross-sell, as well as new logos, one of the important things for you is to look at how quickly you can move the opportunity through that second half of the sales cycle, the bottom half of the sales cycle. If you look at historically what has affected, what has impacted the speed in that part of the sales cycle, a lot of it is primarily because as salespeople, sellers start to construct a quote, start to put together a proposal, there's a number of things that they have to worry about, right? They have to obviously worry about product configurations, making sure that the products are available in industries where there is inventory is in play. They even need to check whether it's in inventory or not. But if you look at high tech or software or some other kind of industries, you may need to worry about configurations, what's compatible with what is bundled with what. You may have pricing rules that are in play. A lot of this historically have been tribal knowledge. In fact, a vast majority of sellers, even today, work with spreadsheets and emails to kind of construct all of these things and make sure that the right pricing rules are put in place, the right discounts are put in place, and all of that kind of stuff. There is no clear order in which that they go about doing things. Every seller does it their own way, and they've kind of gotten used to it. So that's an important aspect because it contributes to delays, because you could construct a deal and it could go to the deal desk and it could get stuck there for a while just because somebody is out there correcting some of those inadvertent mistakes that you might have done, or things that are not compatible, or rules that are not pricing rules that are violated. They need to go and fix those things. So historically, a lot of this has been solved either manually, where somebody in the deal desk does it after the fact and thereby delays the entire sales cycle, or if it needs to be done, if it needs to be done in the process of CPQ, it has taken a lot of IT heavy lifting in order to go out and put these kinds of rules as and when they arise. Business is constantly changing. Marketers are always looking at new ways to bundle things and package things in order to get the deals, help the sales teams. So when you look at the agility, that becomes very important. You want to be able to go from an idea of a new way of bundling or packaging and pricing a product to implementation, so that sellers can actually sell it very, very quickly, potentially in a matter of days. You don't want to wait months for that to happen. So one of the important things that we've focused on as one of the vendors in this category, in this space, is trying to put the power of all of that configurations, all of those rule setups, whether it's approvals, whether it's discount rules, pricing rules, product rules, trying to put the power in the hands of the sales practitioner. where you do not necessarily need a lot of IT heavy lifting, where business analysts, people who understand the go-to-market, people who understand the products and pricing, who are closest to the customers and who are closest to the sellers, they can make the changes themselves in a more self-service fashion. So that's been a big focus area for us. So from an administrative perspective, simplifying it, we believe has been one of the root causes for a lot of the delays. And we've certainly seen that fixing this problem has really sped up quite a bit, at least among our customers, the whole quote to close process. So with that, I want to show you an example of that in action here, right? With let me switch over to a CRM demo here. Can one of you give me an acknowledgement that you're able to see my browser with the CRM screen?
Yes, we sure can.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So what you see here is one of the CRMs. It's HubSpot. We work with all the popular CRMs in the market: Salesforce, Dynamics, HubSpot, Sugar CRM, Zendesk, Pipedrive, Creatio, and many others. So we work with whatever the systems of record that you have, whether it's CRM or ERP. One of the focus areas for us is how do you optimize the system of engagement in the front lines, which means as a seller, you're interacting with the customer on a day-to-day basis. As a service, in service-oriented industries, you may be even in the field interacting with the customers, maybe on a mobile device or something like that on a day-to-day basis. How do we enable those people in the field and the people in the front lines to very easily interact with the customers and construct proposals and negotiate and contract and get through the whole quote to close process quickly? That's been our primary focus. So with that in mind, we have provided a solution that works both standalone but also within the CRMs themselves. So in this case, I have HubSpot and I have our configure price quote system here fully integrated bidirectionally with HubSpot. I'm on a particular deal, I'm working a deal here, and natural for me as a seller in the context of working a deal to go start off a CPQ process. So I click on new CPQ proposal. It is seamlessly integrated with the CRM. As a result, you see there is no other login that I need to remember. I very quickly go into a selling motion and a proposal motion here, which comes right in the context of the deal. It already knows what is the customer I'm working with, what's the deal I'm working with. So it becomes really easy for me to be able to go out and start constructing the proposal without having to log in again or something like that. So with a single click, you can see I already know all of the particulars about whom I'm making the quote out to. This is one of the examples of how you can speed up the process. Do not make the seller key in or add things if they don't have to, because if it's already available in a CRM or another system of record, do real-time data integration and pull that in. And so that's an important aspect. So once I've got the customer set up here, I can save the draft code. I can continue through my steps here. It's a very simple template that has been set up. I choose the customer, I prepare the quote, I get whatever approvals I need, I do my digital signatures, and finally in step 5, I prepare the actual proposal output proposal document. If you have a different workflow that can easily be accommodated by configuring these tabs, and that's what I refer to as putting the power in the hands of the practitioners. You do not need to come to the vendor, us, in order to make any modifications to this. You can optimize the seller experience all by yourself by just going and updating the templates and the layouts to precisely control exactly how the experience looks like and make sure that the experience adapts to your sales motions, not the other way around. So with that, let me move to the quote tab, and you will see this template has a few things. It automatically selected the price book for me. I could select different price books based on different market segments or currencies or regions and things like that. If there are other specific custom fields, like I got to enter a PO or something like that, you could easily enable that here. And then with that, I'm going to just go ahead and add some products to this. If I click on add line items, it'll go to my product catalog. Product catalog can scale from a handful of products to tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands. We have customers with over 250,000 SKUs in the product catalog. You can browse the product catalog graphically. You can search it. You can view it as a list. You have multiple different ways to search for the products that you have. You have products that can be hardware products, software products, subscription products, usage-based products, as well as services, as you can see here. So you can select, it supports all kinds of products and services. You would add those products to the quote. It instantly adds, and you can see the rules engine running all the time in the background and making sure that me as a seller stays within the lanes, there are guardrails that are there so that I don't end up misconfiguring a quote by mistake even. So I don't have to remember all the rules. I don't have to have the tribal knowledge. The system automatically corrects it, keeps me always on the right path here, where it is making sure that things that need to be in place in the code. For example, these two line items are not discountable, so you can see those are locked. The other things are discountable, so I can discount it. And I can if I can discount it by a percentage, I can discount it by a percentage, and the system automatically enables what I can discount it by, whether by an amount or a percentage and things like that. If I need to configure certain products, it will automatically prompt me to configure a particular product. In this case, this is a configurable product, which means I have to specify certain attributes. This particular appliance, I have to say whether it's an electric appliance or a gas appliance, how many burners I need, and what's the width of the chassis. So I need to save these things. Otherwise, the rules will automatically give me an error and prompt. And I can, at any point of time, I can validate the quote, make sure that the quote is valid. If there were any missing items, it will automatically add it. As you can see here, I had forgotten to add the standard warranty line item. The system automatically added it, inserted it at zero cost. And similarly, if there are any errors, incompatibilities, it will point out those errors. Now with that, I can go to the approval stage, and you can see that this particular quote requires an approval. So it doesn't allow me to move forward unless I secure all those approvals. So I can click the submit for approval button here that shows up, and it routes it. The system routes it for approvers to approve it. The approver comes through for an approval like this. You can tailor the look and feel of the email and the template, exactly what you want to show to an approver. The approver can do a one-click approve very quickly, even on a mobile device, or they can go to the particular quote and review the quote online. And then if they want to put some comments, they can put comments and approve it. In this case, I'm logged in as an administrator. So in the interest of time, I'm just going to move forward here. So once I have the quote approved, the other functionality gets unlocked. It allows me to e-sign if I need to e-sign. I can scribble sign, I can adopt a signature, I can upload a signature, all of those things. It tracks for IP address and timestamp. So full e-signature functionality is built in. And once I have all of those things, I can sign the particular quote on my side, and then I can go into the next step where I can actually generate a document. And when I want to generate a doc, I can click on generate an output document, and I can have multiple document templates that I use. I can select the document. It shows the sections that will be created, that will be collated into the document. And you can see here there are multiple sections. There's a terms and conditions section. If I wish to include it, I can wish to include it. If I want to optionally exclude it, I can exclude it. And based on those, I can go ahead and generate the document. And in real time, it goes and combines all of the different aspects of the proposal, such as marketing material, exhibits, any exhibits, technical specs, the actual quote itself, as well as the terms and condition, names the file a particular way based on the account, and then provides a proposal, prepares a proposal for me. So you can see that within a matter of minutes, I have gone from an opportunity to creating a professional looking quote with all the right information, with the contact I chose and the information that's there. And it can include information from the quote, from the CRM, from the ERP or any other back office application. They're all seamlessly spliced in, and then includes my bill of materials or the quote line items, and I can customize exactly what I want to present to the customer. I can include all of my signatures, e-signature, and terms and conditions. And then finally, I can take all of these, and if I would like to send it back to my CRM, I can simply update to HubSpot, and it'll send it back to my CRM. Whatever the CRM is, it'll write all of that information back, which means if I exit out of this, and I can come back and refresh the deal here, you can see that the deal amount has been updated, the stage has been changed, the pipeline could be updated. It has been, there's a new note that's been added, so that the managers can track the quotes being generated. You've got a new proposal that's been attached as well into the CRM. It also updates the attachments to the opportunities and updates all the line items. So from a reporting perspective, now everything is back in the CRM, so you can continue to do your reporting and forecasting. So that shows you how quickly you can go from a quote to a close. Now, from a practitioner perspective, if I click on setup, until now I showed you what happens from a seller perspective, but the magic really is behind the scenes. What makes the seller experience so smooth and so quick is the ability for you to be able to control every aspect of what the seller sees. For example, those tabs that I saw there is all controllable by you as a practitioner very easily with a point and click interface, where you can precisely look at the different tabs and the experiences, and you can control what are the different fields that you want to include there for the seller to populate. You can see where the field needs to be mapped to, whether it needs to be mapped to the CRM, whether it needs to be mapped to the ERP, or it needs to be provided as an input by the seller themselves. You could have those fields be automatically derived through expressions or formulas. So again, you do not need programming skill set for this. If you are comfortable using Microsoft Excel, you should be right at home with this. That is how it's designed. So a lot of the rules, a lot of the expressions, a lot of the aspects of how you want the seller to populate these things can be set up very quickly by your sales operations or revenue operations teams. You can optimize it for a tablet view or a smartphone view. So you could precisely control the experience of what a seller goes through, thereby ensuring high user adoption. The other aspect of it is the product catalog itself is very configurable. You can have the configure price quote. You can have products be simple products or configurable products. You can add rules to those products as to determine compatibility rules, pricing rules. You can set up different kinds of price units, usage-based pricing, subscription pricing, also different pricing schemes such as volume, tiered, or block. These are all the things that you can specify. So it's a fairly robust product and price book system that you can use to configure your quote workflows. And in this case, if I look at the particular template that we were using in the demo earlier, we had different rules. If you recall the rules where it automatically added the standard warranty, you can see that's the rule that got triggered, that fired, and that automatically added the warranty. Similarly, I could have pricing rules that automatically added some discounts. It added a discount automatically because I had a monthly discount going, and I have certain approval rules that get triggered, which could be multiple levels of approval, and that's one of the things that got triggered, and hence we had to approve it. So that's a quick overview of the rules and the experience system. And then similarly, there are many other aspects of administration here, which are all self-service, such as creating your own document templates or email templates, and precisely controlling every aspect of your quoting workflow. So that concludes my very quick demo there. Going back to the result of this, what has been the result of this? If you look at what the result has been, it's been primarily speed, right? There's speed, accuracy, and order. Traditionally, this has been a fairly chaotic process in most of the customers that we speak to. And one of the primary things they want to achieve is bring order to all of that chaos, right? They want to make sure that the quotes are compliant. They want to make sure the quotes are accurate, and they want to make sure that the quotes are fulfillable and get out on time. So we've seen a tremendous improvement in quote to close cycles, in terms of the speed, in terms of tremendous improvement in terms of eliminating quoting errors, over 90% elimination of those errors, and much larger amount of data that's being integrated both from the CRMs and back into the CRMs automatically. So you have better ways to report and measure the return on investment. So with that, I am going to hand it off to Ingmar here to talk about how one would go about putting all of this in place, because that's where Ingmar and his team comes in. And take it away, Ingmar.
No, absolutely. Thanks, Jagadish. So we have really good overview, right, on the kind of technology side, as much as the results, the KPI, and what drives CPQ here, coupled and integrated fully with CRM. So let's give this some perspective from a system implementation or an overall consultancy perspective. So I represent Walpole, and you see it here. I'm not going to read all this out loud, but we represent an organization which is very, very specialized in exactly the topic at hand here with CPQ and subscription management, as carefully highlighted by Jagadish. And what we have been doing this for the last 10 years. I mean, we were always being told, saying, "Yeah, but this is impossible to survive in a market as a boutique niche expert in implementation and coaching and strategic consultancy services." Well, we're 10 years on, we're still trucking, so we believe we have struck the right chord with many customers, and I'll tell you something about that as well. We have a strong thing around what we call the methodology of the 5 S's. Standards, I pick up on number 4 immediately. Standards are key, right? Anything is possible, as Jagadish has aptly shown, but start with standards is one of the big secrets, right, of getting successful with CPQ quickly, right? And to get to those metrics that Jagadish showed. Now, what does that mean is that don't overcomplicate things. CPQ in particular loves complexity. It's not a problem, aptly shown. Rules engine, configuration, workflow, output documentation, it's all there. The point is, of course, to make it look and appear simple and have users on board with this process, make sure you don't overcook things either. And obviously, as said, speed backed up by stakeholder support. We'll talk about change management in a moment, as well as making sure you have the good skill set lined up, preferably, obviously, in-house, or being provided by an outside help, such as us, or a combination thereof, is the best way to succeed. So yeah, that's a little bit about the 5 S's as far as the foundation for successful CPQ implementation. Now let's get to the meaty part, right? So, what do you have to put your arms around once implementing and getting to implementing your CPQ project is really around these 3 axes, and most of the top challenges can be found in these areas. Clearly, scope to begin with. The beauty as well as the pitfall of CPQ is that it is a tool where you learn a lot, as Jagadish showed in a very short span of time. You learn a lot about all the different functionality that you can deploy. And we call it progressive iterative insight, which is fantastic. The only risk is that you're going to end up with a lot of scope creep, which you don't want. You want to be able to tackle particularly your foundation or your phase one implementation by, again, you see the second bullet, stick to the standards, as well as make sure that as you think about your transformation you're gonna go through by implementing such a tool set or enhancing such a tool set, is that you know what your requirements are and what you're after. On top of this, again, very aptly shown by Jagadish, as far as integration is concerned, is know what you want to do there. Wonderful. Well, we've seen Mobileforce here with HubSpot, can be done with any other CRM really, but means you know what you're after. You've got those integrations right available to you as kind of what we call managed packages, so you're not getting into the technical detail and that may make you fall down, possibly down the road. So know what you're integrating, know what you want to integrate to, at first, second, and third level, and make sure you go after it, leaving again some of the bespoke elements to the side as much as possible. Of course, anything goes, there's full flexibility, but consciously make those choices as you go through your integration challenges, and make sure you leverage, right, technically what we call the middleware solutions. What is your on top of your CPQ being the spider in the web, is how do you know, right, it will talk to all the relevant applications, be it CRM, be it ERP, be it any kind of business intelligence tool that you want to hook CPQ up to. And last but not least, it has nothing to do with the technology, and it has everything to do with the people involved. As well as within your organization, as well as outside of your organization. This can be, internal sales and service users, as well as administrators of your tool set. It is your own executive committee, it is externally end user customers, distributors, resellers. All that, right, you've got to put together under this change management credo that really says, understand that CPQ is a very, cross-functional, cross-division, cross-channel tool that impacts many, many people that are related to it. So therefore, what you want, as soon as you realize that, you want to make sure you pick out your change agents that can drive some of this change and carry, the value that was aptly shown before of the tool set, and push that forward. And not to forget, very nicely shown in the demo, UI, UX, right? User interface, user experience, crucial. You don't want to lose your users. You actually want to motivate them, right, to utilize your tool set, be it internally or externally. These are some of the top 3 challenge topics, right, where a lot of thought leadership can be provided by Whirlpool. And we've not, obviously, this is not our first rodeo, nor is it with Mobileforce. There is a lot of big brands out there which really go across different industries, segments, different use cases and applications. And any organization that is looking to go after that business process and technical experience is very well set by listening to what have others done. Even if you want to set up the tool all by yourself, which is perfectly okay, the point is make sure that you don't fall into the same pitfalls as others may have in the past. Positively said, learn from what others have done and make sure you apply this cloud application and this cloud technology in the best way possible for your organization. And then as the last slide from my behalf after this, please check it, is like, make sure you go around this compass, right? That is typically Whirlpool's guidance, and you tick the boxes on each. If you start on the right top side with strategy and planning, make sure you have the right sponsorship in place and you're hooked up with the right people who can guide you and facilitate your CPQ project implementation. As you analyze, processes, data, and get designs in place, then start running your project based on the right requirements, right? Deal with the change management as highlighted before. Go through the setup yourself or with some help. test, on the left side, test, and test some more. Make sure that what you're doing is fit for purpose for the business users that aim to take advantage of running with this experience, right? So testing is key. Of course, as you go live, put the tool in the hands of the business users. Make sure that it's done in a warm handover way. It's not chucking it over the fence. It is making sure that it's put in their hands with a good support structure, and that they feel they can do anything that they need to do to facilitate their daily operations and close more business and do it faster. That concludes my small part, and I think I'm handing back over to you, Frank, so we can get towards Q&A.
Excellent. So, and I think it's still interesting to listen to all of this, right? So I've been working in the CPQ space since '96, but I always like doing these quick overviews, even though I admit it's a lot to digest, right? So, so I think before we get to Q&A, let me quickly explain the links that you see here, right? So I think everyone who presented, so you had as a vendor, that's obviously Mobileforce, right? So they offer a CPQ solution as a system integrator. It's Walpole and Ingmar, and then Novus, that's myself, that's from an analyst point of view. Different ways how you can contact them, right? So there is the email, there is the website, and if anyone has any problems, I'm pretty sure you can just easily contact Philip at marketing@mobileforcesoftware.com, and he will point you in the right way. But I already saw a couple of questions were answered right away. But I got one over here, which I want to put back to Ingmar and Jagadish, is what do you see as the main advantage of having CRM, CPQ, and field service management? What are the benefits of having a full and seamless integration with all three? What would you say to that?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I can lead and then dovetail into it with Jagadish. From an implementation perspective, right? You're looking to get, challenge number 2, right? To get to that, seamless way of working, which has that focus on the business user, right? And Jagadish showed it, in the demo. You don't want any user, to go beyond what they actually know, which is typically, the CRM system or the field service system. It's the lens through which they are looking to the tool set. That's the one you want to show them in a seamless, integrated manner, so they don't get that experience. Oh, I got to log out, log back in again. I need to do things in different tools. No, it all comes from whatever angle you take, be it sales, CRM, be it service through the service portal, or directly being able to generate quotes from a portal perspective. As long as those integration points are set up in the right way, it needs to be seen as a seamless experience. But yeah, Jagadish, perhaps over to you from how you also, from a technology perspective, are looking at that.
Yeah, thanks, Ingmar. Well said. What I'd like to add is, if you look at the industry today, so much of the business is coming from installed base. So there's a lot of focus on upsell, cross-sell, expansion revenue. And if you think about where a lot of those opportunities originate from, they originate from your customer success, your support, your service teams who are working with the customers on a daily basis. So yes, while you want to optimize the earlier part of the sales, the CRM, the opportunity to close, you also want to pay a lot of attention to what happens after the deal gets closed and it gets onboarded and implemented and then serviced on an ongoing basis, because it's not a linear process. It's a cycle where customers routinely come back and buy more, and if they like your products and services, they expand with you. So there's a lot of expansion revenue you can unlock through that process. So a system needs to really not just stop at a contract or a close. We believe from a revenue operations optimization perspective, you really need to look at the entire sales to service cycle and look at it as a cycle where you enable every person who is working with the customer, interfacing with the customer, whether it's a seller or a customer success or service in the field, you want to enable them and optimize them to capture the revenue opportunity at every point of interaction, if there is one. And so the system needs to enable them to do that. And that's why we believe that code to cash to service is an important need in the industry today. That's kind of what we are seeing.
Got it. Got it. Excellent. So now we have a couple of folks on the call right now, I'm pretty sure. So you heard a lot, right? So that was probably a lot to digest. So if you're not already familiar with CPQ, I'm not sure how digestible it was. But does any one of you have any questions online? I have some more here that I got, but let me ask you first. Does anyone have any questions that you want to ask right now? Don't be shy. So that's a good opportunity. So you have the vendor system.
We got Rick.
Yeah.
Rick has been asking here. I think he put the question in.
Oh,
unless we already answered it.
You see, it's already showing in red, and I didn't see it. So, what are the essential features we should look for in a CPQ solution?
Absolutely. No, I think it's yours, Jagadish, from a tech perspective, right?
Yeah, I can take that one here. I think it sort of goes back to the aspects of the solution that I talked about a little earlier. What we have seen for success of CPQ, there are three broad areas. I mean, CPQ has lots and lots of features. I don't want to go into every single feature here, but three areas that I think you want to focus on. One is around user experience, right? Which is very critical because CPQ, unlike other SaaS applications, your end users are your sellers, and those sellers could be your direct sellers or indirect sellers, which would be resellers, partners, distributors, etc. And these are people who are not very technical, who may want the simplest interface. You want to enable them with an easy workflow. Otherwise, they will not adopt. They will simply move on and they will continue to do things their own way. So any system, you need to look for features in the CPQ system that will let you adapt the UI to whatever your sales motion is, whatever your workflow is. It should not be the other way around. It should not be a system that forces you to adapt a static workflow or an interface. You need something that molds itself very well to adapting the different sales motions you have. It may not even be one single sales motion. It may be a new logo sales motion, a new customer sales motion versus an existing customer upsell, cross-sell sales motion. And they may require totally different parameters and steps in the selling process or quoting process, and the system should be able to support that. So user experience. The second is around rules, which is very critical. You have lots of business rules that typically, if they are not enforced, could end up with inaccurate quotes or quotes that are not compliant. And you want to make sure you eliminate that right at the source. You do not want to fix it after the fact, because otherwise there'll be a lot of cost you will incur in the deal desk to be able to fix it. So you need a system that will allow your sales enablement teams, whether it is from marketing or sales enablement or CRM administrators, whoever you have who's responsible for working with the sellers on a day-to-day basis, they need to be able to have self-service features to very quickly create, manage, test those rules. And those rules should be product rules, discount rules, pricing rules. So you need a robust rules system that allows you to self-manage it. So I would suggest look for things that is easy to manage, because it goes back to the change management aspect that Ingmar talked about. And finally, the third aspect of it is data integration. You want a system that can integrate seamlessly with different pieces of data that might come from third-party sources. Certainly systems of record like CRM is a must, because you're going to have deal attributes and customer attributes that are going to be in CRM that influence how you discount, influence aspects of quoting. So you need to make sure they flow in seamlessly into the session. But you also may require data from other third-party sources, such as inventory management, such as taxation, such as shipping and freight charges, depending on the type of industry you are. So you may need to actually integrate with other data sources, and your CPQ system should be able to not only integrate, but also very quickly change and pull the data, pieces of data into your rules and your coding workflow. So I would say those are the three areas. But I think the last one, which is a given, is once it's all done, any CPQ system you choose, needs to have very robust analytics. It needs to be able to write back to the CRM, and it needs to be able to give you a way to very quickly measure your KPIs.
Excellent. I would chime in here in a minute as well, but Ingmar, do you want to add anything?
The thing to watch out for always, right, with CPQ, and it's dovetailing into the analytics part that Jagadish mentioned, is you have to remember, you know, CPQ is what we call a transient system, right? It is, I don't want to just say fire and forget, but it is, you know, ultimately the transaction, right, that it tries to close out in the most successful way, given the sales play that you're in, as carefully highlighted. Now, realizing that means that you need that integration and the analytical part, right, to start driving your data, you know, because the biggest thing CPQ does for you is it will amalgamate, it will add data upon data upon data. So what you need, you know, to throw out a popular term, very modern and hot these days, what you need is a lot of data. You need machine learning that gives you insight into that data, and ultimately you need AI, you know, preferably, of course, generative artificial intelligence that helps you to even better understand which place that you should be in, you know, and which ones you should stay out of, preferably, or where to go first. Let's put it positively. So those are obviously also the traits you're looking for in a good CPQ solution, is to support the generative AI as, you know, all technology that is being out there today starts to adopt more and more that part of the advanced technology element.
Excellent. All very valid points, right? Very good. So let me just very quickly add one thing to this. So you could obviously talk about this much longer, so we don't have the time to touch all the points. I think very important points were already mentioned by Jagadish and Ingmar. But from my point of view, as an analyst working with many different solutions, working with many different users, I would say in general, as you probably need to start smaller than what you have in mind right now. So if you have these oversized expectations and you expect to have everything tomorrow, that's probably something to review. Anyway, as I said, you could talk for hours about this. I saw an open question here a minute ago. Now it seems to be answered. Then let's do this. If there are any other questions that you have, send them over. We will answer them after the call. So I think we agreed at the top of the hour, it's probably where your next meeting starts. So that's why I would say, let's wrap it up over here. If anyone else has something we can address in the next minute, then that's great. Otherwise, I would thank you all for spending the morning an hour with us and listening to this. I hope it was beneficial for anyone. And as I said, so if anyone has any questions, you have all the information over here, how you can reach folks. Thank you very much for being a part of the webinar this morning.
Thank you all. Bye for now.